Alright, welcome back for another look at the Star Trek, the official Starships collection. I now have before me issue 36, which is the USS Grissom, or the Oberth class. Great image here on the cover, in the magazine of course. So there's our magazine. And we have the ship here, which looks pretty awesome in the box from what I can see so far. So we'll put that aside, and let's talk about our magazine for a moment or two or three. So here's a wonderful image of the Oberth class on the cover. As usual, CGI and wonderful imagery by Eaglemoss there. However, there is a slight discrepancy or error, if you want to call it that. On the cover of the magazine, it shows, and even on the Star Trek Starships collection website, it shows that this model was originally supposed to be called the USS Pegasus, which was from, I believe, the season 7 episode of the same name, the Pegasus. And that's the ship that I thought we would be getting in the collection. But obviously, I guess maybe due to fan outcry or fan demand, and because of the sheer popularity, of the USS Grissom from Star Trek 3, I guess they elected to go with the USS Grissom registry number NCC 638 as opposed to the USS Pegasus registry number NCC 53847. So it would have been nice to get the USS Pegasus because, I mean, the Oberth class has been produced before. I know the Japanese did it. I know Micro Machines did it, and I know it's been part of the Star Trek Starfleet Attack Force game, that little game that's been going around for a while. And I know there are some custom models and stuff like that. But yeah, it just would have been nice to get the Pegasus because it was a different ship. I mean, we have the Grissom, we've seen it a million times, so it would have been cool to get something different. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So getting back to the magazine. So if you can ignore the registry there, let's just pretend that this is the Grissom. It's a great image there otherwise. It's Oberth class, launched in the 23rd century, 120 meters long with a crew complement approximately 80. Turn the page, we have our wonderful table of contents, also showing you how to mount the model to the stand. And we have our specification page in more detail. It is Oberth class again, launched again in the 23rd century, 120 meters long, as I said. It has a crew of 80 approximately, which I guess is considered standard. It has weaponry, phaser banks, no torpedo banks that I can see. And its captain was Captain J.T. Esteban, that's the USS Grissom. And the USS Pegasus, of which was featured on the cover of the magazine and probably internally, was captained by Captain Eric Pressman, later to be called Admiral Eric Pressman. So you turn the page, we have some wonderful text there on the ship, as well as a nice image of the ship as well. Turning the page, more screen caps from various episodes that the Oberth class has been seen and or mentioned in, as well as more interesting text. We have our specification, or not specification, but our centerfold / diagram page showing what things are approximately, and some screen caps. And here's an interesting section on the production design of Star Trek 3, which was actually the first appearance of the Oberth class ship in the Star Trek universe, the USS Grissom. Turning the page, we have some more imagery from Star Trek 3 and some more text, which I am looking forward to reading. I have not had a chance to read this magazine, so I apologize for coming to you misinformed if I am quoting something wrong here. So we turn the page, more imagery there, conceptual art, and more text. And here's an interesting part which I look forward to reading. Here is the building and filming of the Oberth class model. Two different versions or variations of the Oberth class there, as well as some text, and some different modifications were made to the model to make it look like it was a different ship every time, and some battle damage, and so on and so forth. And our on-screen appearance page. His first appearance was in, as I said, Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. Its TV appearances has been on Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and the latter, which was in the first episode, I believe, Emissary, as it was seen fighting the Borg in the Battle of Wolf 359. It was also seen as the ship which docked at the station during the first part of the episode, which was delivering or dropping off Dr. Bashir and Lieutenant Dax to the station. So, I believe its last appearance was in Star Trek Generations, I think. I don't think I've seen it. It definitely wasn't on Voyager. Anyway, I think the last time it was seen was in Star Trek Generations as part of the trio of ships that rescued the Enterprise D crew from Meridian 3 at the conclusion of the film. So anyway, that's the magazine there. Next month, which will be fun, we have the Andorian battle cruiser, so that'll be really cool to have. I'm looking forward to that one. The first Andorian ship that we will be receiving. I know our friends in England and Ireland and so on have this already, but that's okay. And so yeah, that's the USS Grissom / Pegasus / Tarkovsky, etc., etc., etc. And here's a great picture of the ship on the back, the underside. So that's our magazine. So we'll put this thing aside, and we'll get to the ship. Again, in the usual boxing glory, Star Trek logos. Ooh, oh, my hands are really loose today, huh? Symbol on the back. So let's take this thing out. This thing looks massive in the box. Wow, this thing is humongous. First impressions. Damn, this thing is huge. The metal part is clearly the top side, and the plastic, the bottom. The detail on this is fantastic. Unlike many models, you can't really see the separation joints or separation points on the model. I mean, you can, but they're very well hidden, or almost seamless. The detail is great down to the font on the hull there. It's even got the Starfleet insignia with the United Federation of Planets as the text seen on the nacelle there. It's also on this side as well. I mean, the detail is fantastic. You can see the registry number there and on the other side. And it just looks great. I mean, got the NCC 638 there. This is a pretty awesome model. Thrilled that it's in the collection. Again, I would have loved to have seen the USS Pegasus or the USS Tchaikovsky from the Naked Now on Next Gen, or the USS Pegasus, or any of those other science ships that we've seen in the various episodes. It would have been cool, but the Grissom is the favorite to most people, so it's awesome and nice to have. Compared to the other ships we've received, this thing is like a tank. I mean, this thing is just huge. Obviously, it's not to scale because the Oberth class is like micro compared to ships like the Enterprise D and other Federation starships. Unfortunately, as many times as we've seen this class of ship on screen, very little information has been given about it. I mean, we don't know what the heck this whole section is, or even if it's habitable. I mean, it just looks like it's just there. Maybe, I mean, does there look like there's anything that would connect, I mean, from this section to here? Like, is there like a turbo lift shaft or something? It doesn't look like, doesn't do anything. Maybe it's an engine pod or something, I don't know. I've always wondered that since I first saw it. But yeah, anyway, I mean, you got the perfect font there. The spelling is correct. The arrows point in the proper direction. Eagle Moss, you really did good on this one. It's just great. I can't find anything wrong with it. I mean, it's so heavy, like it just leans forward. really good. I'm really pleased with this. Keep it up, Eagle Moss. You're really hitting them out of the park now. Getting better and better every time. So, like I said, I'm grateful that it is a part of the collection. As usual, it comes with the stand and the other part, which says USS. Well, it doesn't say that. It says Oberth class at the bottom. Now, as far as that is concerned, it's not the first time that Eagle Moss has got the name. I wouldn't say the name wrong. They didn't get it wrong. But it's not the first time that there's been sort of like and they wanted a general class ship. Like, for example, this is the Oberth class. The model is the Grissom, but on the cover of the magazine, it's a different ship. The Nebula class, if you remember from a few months back, that was the USS Honshu, but in the magazine, there's no mention of a Honshu. So yeah, that's the Oberth class. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I appreciate that very much. So next month should be the Andorian ship, and I believe the Delta Flyer, which will be great. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Live long and prosper.